So food to me is my way to show care, love to my family. Yes, I'm the youngest one. Naturally, become one thing that I thought this is the things that I could do to show love.
This is the Deep in the Weeds podcast. I'm Anthony Huckstep. Most restaurants are built on a model that demands a full house most days of the week to turn a profit. But what if your restaurant is tiny? What impact does a few no-shows or the odd empty seat have on the function and the profitability of the restaurant? Zac Ng is the chef and owner of Restaurant Car in Darlinghurst, Sydney. Zac, how are you?
Hey, how are you? Thank you for having me.
It's great to get you on the show. You got an amazing little restaurant there in Darlinghurst, but it is pretty small. How are things going at the moment?
At the moment, I think same as other restaurant. We're heading toward winter, a bit colder. The trade of the business a bit slow than normal.
What's it like in Sydney generally at the moment? There's a lot of talk about the challenges for restaurants, and you hear of a lot of restaurants closing. Do you feel that as well in your business?
Well, I started to feel it. How long ago was it? Been at least 4 or 5 months. The booking drops by 50% at the start, and then now someday it can be worse.
What sort of impact does that have on you, with being such a small venue with not many seats? What sort of impact does that have on the day-to-day runnings for you? Well,
as you say, I have a 10-seat counter-style restaurant. So every single seat represents 10% of my revenue on that seating. And we try to do 2 seating just to make the most out of it. But lately, it's just been hard. Like at the beginning, we only offer 6 o'clock seating. Second seating start at 8:30. So basically, we try to maximum the turnover, right? But yeah, it's been tough. People don't want to come in as early as 6 o'clock. 8:30 is too late. So now I started to allow people to come in at 6:30, 7 o'clock, 7:30, just so I get people in the restaurant and not having empty.
That sort of pressure, given that, a seat is 10% of business, are you finding yourself working more? Like what's sort of happening with the business operations?
Well, to start with, 10-seat restaurant doesn't have a huge margin. And we not can't afford to have, a manager, a bartender, a wait staff at food runner. So I employ 2 other chefs and plus another cashier. So we all cook. We all chef. We cook, we clean, we explain the dishes, we do drinks, just to make it more effective.
You mentioned that you were doing 6 o'clock and 8:30 seatings, but now you're open to 7:30 and sort of being more malleable for the consumer. Are there other things that you've introduced to sort of deal with the current climate?
Besides that, I don't know. This is my first restaurant in cooking for 21 years. All I know is about cooking, and it's only started when I have Restaurant Car. Then I learned more about other thing else, and have to have my hands on, taking booking, answering email. Bit more of the marketing, try to get people. And so far, what I've done is just try to capture more of what we do and post it on Instagram.
Are you surprised by sort of the difference of working as a chef for all those years, as you mentioned, and running your own business? Are you surprised by how different it is?
Well, I knew it's going to be different. But as you are actually doing it yourself, it can be a bit overwhelming of the things that you have to deal with, and yeah.
Tell us a little bit about Restaurant Car. It's already received amazing accolades and a hat, and as you mentioned, it's a 10-seater. But tell us what you're doing there with the food.
Well, I was started training in Hong Kong, so I went to a culinary school like TAFE when I was sent. Landed a job at a five-star hotel, Grand Hyatt. And my mom actually didn't like the idea of me started working in the kitchen when I was only 18 years old. So I was sent to Adelaide to do uni. So I have a bachelor degree in business management. Yeah. And having a restaurant is always a dream of mine. I just thought I just want to do my thing. I thought if I just keep on doing the things that I think I like and I'm good at, and people just appreciate it. So I didn't think of too much. I suppose I have a personality of want to be creative, and I've been cooking for 20 years. And I started off cooking in hotel, some cafe. I even worked room service, steakhouse, and cooking buffet and banquet for 500-600 people. So at the beginning, I was like cooking also different type of food. In restaurant car, I suppose it reflects my heritage of being raised in China's Cantonese communities. But then I was trained in Western cuisine, then combining all those experiences in my cooking journey to reflect on my menu, incorporating Cantonese cuisine with modern Australian techniques and local ingredients.
One of the things that you've become renowned for is an amazing restraint on the plate and keeping things visually looking simple, even though there's so much technique behind it. That's usually the sign of a much older and more mature chef than yourself. Well, tell us a little bit about your approach and how you landed on such sort of stunning simplicity.
Well, I suppose the 10 years at Sepia Restaurant working under Martin, that really, polished my cooking and helped me develop techniques. And it was the 10 years of experience there taught me the importance of the precision of in cooking, looking at the little detail stuff and different approach in creating dishes in terms of combining flavor or textures. And I am having a really tiny restaurant with really limited staff, yet, the things that I used to do would be more complicated, probably more labor intensive. So my challenge here is probably to be able to achieve the flavor, the texture that I'm so used to, what I so appreciate, but have to put into consideration that it's only 3 of us doing that.
Is there a dish or two that you can tell us about that's on the menu at the moment that sort of exemplifies what you're doing?
There's this dish that it's been on the menu since day one. So it's a calamari dish sourced from Lincoln, like really, really good producer, Sabib, Narito-san from, seafood supplier. Really done a good job of handling and clipping and picking the best produce for me. So what we did is just simply cleaned up, thinly slice it, and quickly saute in a very, very hot pan. It only takes like 15-20 seconds to get in the pan and out of the pan. And it's served in a puree, maybe shallot, garlic, a bit of spices, and finish off with a touch of squid ink. It's like a little black puree on the bottom and covered with the calamari that cook in a hot. And that dish is just that, very simple, but it's the freshness of the produce and the flavor that underneath represents my childhood memory. People, whoever eats it will be able to tell, this is very familiar kind of flavor, but they couldn't tell what it is, and that's what surprised people. And it's served with a warm bun at the end with my housemate butter. It's just really, really simple, yeah, people enjoyed most. I didn't think of having a so-called signature dish that has to stay on the menu. Since day one, people were pointing at the empty plate, like, no, this dish I want it to be on the menu.
It does sound amazing. You mentioned your heritage a couple of times. Take us back to when you were young. You mentioned Hong Kong. Take us back then and into the family. What sort of role did food play for you?
Food. I started off actually fall in love with cooking when I was 8 or 9 years old. I started, just helping my grandma peeling garlic, washing veggie, beating eggs, like really, really simple tasks in the kitchen. And then I just started fed love, picking up a dish to cook, and toward 11, 12 years old, I was like cooking the entire meal for my family. So food to me is my way to show care, love to my family. As I'm the youngest one in my family. I have 2 brothers and sister, and we live together. My parents. In being the youngest one, I thought, what I could do to show these people who love me and care me every day, being the little one in the family. And just naturally become one thing that I thought, this is the things that I could do to show my love. Like I didn't know at that time. It's once I get older, I could tell that's why I did it.
Take us back to that time. Is there a dish or two that you cooked that really stands out from back then in your family?
There was this pork chop dish. So pork boil, just pan fry, and then we use fresh tomato to make a tomato sauce. It gets sweetened with a little bit brown sugar. Remember, it's again home cooking, very simple. But we would have that dish appear on the dinner table once a week or once every 2. And I remember I was 11 or 12. My brother, who is 8 years older than me, was cooking that dish because go in the kitchen and ask mom, what you have, and he was trying to help out, and he did that tomato sauce pork dish and put on the table, and it wasn't like what we normally, not the way that you should have it. Then I took the plate and I went back to the kitchen, and I was like, put it back on the pan, a little bit of seasoning, a bit of salt, a bit of sugar, a bit of pepper, things like that, and then take it back out, and he wasn't he wasn't being offended. He was just really appreciate his little brother could say the dish, and I thought it's a funny moment. So I'm being the youngest one, helping my brother to cook when I was only like 11, 12 years old.
You mentioned that you spent a decade working with Martin Bennett at Sepia, which had a huge impact on the culinary landscape in Australia over that decade. Take us into the kitchen there. Do you have a couple of stories of what it was like in that kitchen and what it was like to work with Martin?
It was a very serious kitchen. I still miss the vibe, going into work with everyone is so focused. It's just shooting to, one direction, led by Martin, and everyone just want to, cook the best food that they can and put the best food on the plates. And as I said, like everyone was just so switched on, so determined to be, cooking the best food.
You worked your way up the ranks in the kitchen there. Tell us about the evolution of Sepia, because it changed quite a lot over that decade. What was it like being in that kitchen, and what did you see in the changes in the food?
I started working there as a chef de partie. So worked there for 10 years, working every different section. But at the beginning, the restaurant wasn't, how can I put it in words? I thought it was quite corporate to start with. I wasn't thinking I was, into a fine dining in that level. And there was a funny story too. I was one of the first one to get hired, and at that time I finished working at Flying Fish. I just walked past the restaurant before it's open. Just have a banner. I was under construction. It just say CPR restaurant and wine bar opening soon. And I just thought, oh, cool, new restaurant and wine bar, and I like wine, and I want to know how it's like to work in a brand new restaurant. So I signed up. I had an interview outside of the restaurant because the restaurant was just covered in, paints and wires. And I was hired. And the food that we did, I think at the beginning we were doing like business lunch. We're doing a 4-course menu. Then we just feel like, this is not the things that we want to do. As in, Martin wants to be, more refined and just be more focused and want to develop more than just a quick lunch. So we switch and started from something that is quite safe for people to come in and enjoy to something more of bit, sometimes could be a bit challenging for people and have more different unusual ingredients or textures.
Was it challenging as a chef in that kitchen to sort of delve into the intricacies of the techniques that were introduced that sort of took sepia to the heights that it went to?
Oh, definitely. It wasn't just challenging for the chef who work on the bottom of the line. I mean, it's challenge for everyone, even for Martin. Like this is the things that we want to do something that is not comfortable from ourselves. We want to be pushed. We want to do something different. We want to be challenged.
There was many amazing dishes that came out of that kitchen, but is there one that you remember fondly that you can sort of take us through from your time there?
There are so many dishes. There was this, we have done so many tuna dishes too, and that's the reason I'm eating tuna so much these days as well. There was this tuna dish. It represents like a little terrine, so we finish slice the tuna, and then we finish slice some hamon iberico, like really, really good quality hamon, and then we just lay it together, and we cook more hamon into a stock and turn it into a cream. So the whole dish is just, freshness of tuna, umami of the hamon, and then you have, a creamy texture of hamon cream, and then there was some puffed grain to create a crunchy texture. See,
I remember that dish. It was amazing. What did you take from your time working with Martin? Was there any sort of lessons learned or things that he passed on to you that you use now?
I suppose it's the way it's not just one thing. It's like the discipline and how to be organized. And also, all these techniques that we have developed to construct the whole menu, applying different textures on food. This is one major thing that I think I really, really appreciate. And embrace the seasonality of the produce. And one thing that, Sepia or Martin did really well was, fusing Japanese cuisine with Austrian produce and applying French cooking techniques. And, combining different flavor, different techniques, which helped me to shape restaurant as well. Because I am, using the same kind of thinking, but applying Chinese elements or Chinese flavor onto my menu. Yet it just subtly, not saying, I'm not going to do a crazy modern version of swing southpaw or lemon chicken. Rather, it's just taking the subtle elements of whether it's a ingredient or spices that we use in Cantonese cuisine, or is it actual techniques on doing a dish but applying onto another ingredient that we find locally. That's the thing that I learned from Martin.
After Sepia, you spent some time within the Golden Century Group at XOPP. Take us into that kitchen. How did you land that gig, and what was it like?
After Sepia, I was still thinking what I was going to do next. And then Billy approached me, said he has a new restaurant project. And at that time, I was already, thinking if I am going to, have my own restaurant or the next shop that I'm going to do, I would love to have, some Chinese Cantonese elements in it. Golden Century was the perfect platform for me, to learn from them, learn from their culture, and also apply my, my knowledge, my techniques, and combine together. And with their brand, I thought it was just crazy. I never thought I could work with, Golden Century, as in, of Chinese restaurant in Sydney, pretty much. And then from there, I tried to develop, a menu with some modern Western cuisine, whether it's flavor or techniques. But also, I introduced like a more modern style of kitchen management, kitchen operation into their restaurant, because they were still, at that time at Golden Century, they were still very old school. They were like handwritten docket with clips and everything manually, and I thought it's not efficient enough. You have to have a computer system to at least communicating the ordering, and list out all the variation of dishes, while then having handwritten, like one of the older or more senior front of house manager would probably know the system. Older chef would probably understand all these handwritten docket. But if you want to introduce some young blood into the Chinese kitchen, I think this is also one thing that they have to look at. It's not as many chefs willing to be or able to work in Chinese restaurant, because they don't speak the same language, as in this old school kind of management system, ordering system. It's hard for them to we have to be modernized in order to get new people, young chefs. And in Chinese cuisine is a really interesting sector of the restaurant industry. Without the language, it can be hard. But I thought if I was there, I can help to be the translator. If I could, make it a more approachable kitchen, then we can introduce Chinese cuisine to younger chef, not limited to Chinese student or Chinese chef, but and anyone who wanted to learn Chinese cuisine could just go and work at Golden Century. That would be amazing.
Tell us about Restaurant Car and the beginnings of it, the idea and finding the location. What was that period of time like?
It was hard. It was hard. I was having a bit of depression at that time, because I quit my job. It was still during all this COVID restrictions period, and I wasn't qualified. I wasn't qualified for all those government support payments. And I was like, I know I'm still looking for a site. I don't have a job. I got little boys at home. At that time, my boy was like 4 years old and 2 years old. And I was like, dang, what am I gonna do? And fortunately, like my wife was being very supportive, and I have friends around and offer me a couple of shifts. I was working at Leo, pick up a few shifts at Leo for Carl, and there's this for Seka dining in Cincinnati, a little Japanese ramen izakaya kind of restaurant, and they help me to offer me a couple of shifts, and that also helped me to look at different style of restaurant operations. See. And then when I have car, the challenge was how to manage the builder to work within, the time limit and within the budget, and not blowing the budgets too much, and starting off having a restaurant without much of the front of house experience and knowledge. It was quite challenging, because I thought I would have a front of house manager who can look after the service side, the booking, the packages, the wine and cocktail, etc. But then it didn't help that happen. So I have this guy who quit before we opened. Then I just thought, why not? I just do it myself. So it was a bit crazy. As in, you are having a restaurant, but I was quite ambitious to offer lots of different options. So a wine list, a cocktail list, and then from there I did wine pairing. I just want people to come in and dine here, have the same sort of option that you could have at a normal restaurant. So I suppose the task, the things that we do in this little space is pretty much the same as a regular sized restaurant. It's just done by 3 people.
Why did you settle on a site in Darlinghurst?
Oh, I have been looking for different areas. I suppose this is like, looking for your dream house is never going to be easy. So it happened to me to find this little location where it's off the main street, but not far from Main Street. We just like 1 street down from Oxford Street. So relatively still quite easy to get to. But I like the feeling of walking down the street without having too much of noises, and walk into a little shop and be like, hang on, this is a restaurant. I just like being a bit discreet and like people to walk through the door and just be like, oh wow, this is different from walking down from the streets.
You mentioned earlier about that your family wanted you to go in a different direction, and then you went into the world of food, and now you have your own restaurant. But what do they think about what you've created there with Restaurant Car?
Well, they still haven't been to my restaurant. So my parents are still in Hong Kong. I asked them to visit for quite a while. So hopefully by the end of this year, they would visit me. My mom now is very open. Ever since I told her I was working at CPA restaurant, and it was like one of the top restaurants in Australia, and then it was like, oh, hang on, I didn't know that cooking in the kitchen could be having that kind of how can I put it in words again? I suppose he thought working in the kitchen is just for people who not able to study and end up taking drugs and gamble and being with the people is not educated, and that's it. That's your career. And then never thought of, that there is chef that, working in like really, really high quality and make the restaurant to be a really, I'm lost. I don't know what I'm going, but I suppose she's very proud of me having a restaurant in that level and people coming in eating, really, really positive reviews. I mean, she never thought of being a chef could achieve that.
You're doing something quite special there with the food, leaning into the Cantonese heritage and using Australian produce and delivering a sort of intimate experience. What do you hope that people take away from a dining in your restaurant?
100%. The reason I opened this sort of dining was, during COVID, I just thought, we have lost so much connection with people. We so used to, in our own space. I remember there was one time dining out at Aria, and there was a couple behind us. I mean, like, Aria was such a beautiful restaurant. Food was, was beautiful. There was, nice view, and yet this couple behind us was just on the phone the whole night, wasn't talking to each other. While the wait staff, pouring their water, placing down the food, or clearing the dishes or cutlery, they didn't give any eye contact. Didn't say thank you, didn't say please. I was like, what's wrong with people? And I thought having a intimate restaurant like Car, you are putting the dish right in front of them, looking in the eye and tell them what they are, and make conversation and ask people their feedbacks, or tell them about the story about the restaurant or about every single dish, and just to kind of encourage people to have conversations. And I'm hoping people would enjoy. Maybe they didn't realize, but maybe they would start realizing once they going out or having dinner at home. They would, hang on, there's something different, without having conversation at the table or with the chef or with the waitstaff. Just feel like, if I could help, reintroducing, having conversation at the dinner table, at least we'll have a better experience.
Well, it's amazing what you've created there. But what do you love about what you do?
I like serving food to make people happy. I like people finishing their plate and tell you that, we like that. And I'll tell my friends about it, and they would love to share. Like, I have lots of guests came in, and then they'll bring their parents inside, or they would bring the different friends next time. So I even though we're very quiet and very slow these days, and every night we have people that has been in the restaurant at least once, which really surprised me. And other things that I want to achieve is actually inspire more chefs to do something similar. Not in terms of intensive chef table restaurant, but in terms of blending their own heritage, showing people their own cooking journeys. Because we in Australia or in Sydney, most of us, if not ourselves from overseas, my parents or grandparents would be from a different country, so they will have their own culture and heritage, and different chefs would have different experience from working in, from this restaurant to that restaurant. And I'm hoping to see more people to blend all the experiences in heritage and put on the plates. Because we need people to keep cooking like real authentic food. Like I love my authentic Italian food. I don't ruin it by putting pineapple on the pizza. And I want to see some real authentic Japanese cuisine. Show me some really regional style of food. Say I know different style of ramen. For say, I want some French restaurant, but also we need people to be innovative. I want to see more people blending flavor and cultures using our local producer and see what we can come up with.
Well, it's amazing to catch up with you, Zac, and incredible to see what you're building there. An honour to have you on Deep in the Weeds today to hear a bit of your story, but look forward to what's to come. Please keep in touch and we'll catch up again soon.
Thank you, Huck. Thank you.
This is the Deep in the Weeds podcast. I'm Anthony Huckstep. Stay tuned as we take a deep dive into the lives of the incredible people who ply their trade in the food and hospitality sector. Special thanks to executive producer Rob Locke for making this all happen. Follow us on Instagram at Deep in the Weeds Podcast or email us at podcast@deepintheweeds.com.au. Stay safe and be well.